All right. So we're finally made it here with Brother Tdka down here in North Carolina. And you guys, I've been on the road this weekend, but I told you, I promised you I was going to have a treat for you. And I got my little brother here. I got my little brother here, Brother Dr. Tdka, Maat, Kilimanjaro. And as you guys know, I'm Mkuu. So, we just went out and had something to eat real quick and relax, and now we're going to kind of sit and talk for a few minutes. We got some other things we want to talk about. That's probably going to be a little bit more private, but,
yeah.
I want to get the brother on video and let you guys know that the message hasn't changed. tell us, the message that we know, everybody knows that follows this brother, and the University of Kemet Press knows that the message is clear. Shed alien technology, alien dogma, alien philosophy.
Yes.
You go ahead, and
well, you're saying it, Mkuu. Good to see you all. The message has been clear for at least 3 years we've been talking.
Mm-hmm.
It is, we have internal work to do.
Yeah.
And we have to get clear of all the things that we've been contaminated with. And we have to let them go. And as you said before, not only do we have to let those things go, we have to let the people go who are actually propagating that stuff. And obviously they'll let us go also, as you said.
Yeah.
I thought your discussion on that was...
just to embellish a little bit on what you just said. And we both agree. You guys who are listening and looking at this video right now, some of you guys aren't going to change your dogma. You're not going to change your philosophy. You're not going to change your religion. And we clearly understand that. So we're not trying to, I know my brother here is not trying to bash your decision to do so.
Mm-hmm.
However, understand that just as much as we can say we can't take everybody with us, you can tell us the same thing. You're not going to be able to take us with you. You know what I mean? And so you don't want to go with us. We don't want to go with you because your philosophy is different to mine. Here's the key, though, Tdka, and maybe you can agree with me or not. I know you do, but how difficult is it for people to build as Africans and not be philosophically and dogmatically inclined to enforce their opinion and religious lifestyle on others? Can we just be pro-African? Can we just be African-centered and leave the religion behind? Is that so difficult for people to do?
Yeah, they've been brought up in it, and when you're brought up in something that another population imposed on you, it's like Christianity comes from the whites, the Europeans, and Islam from Arabs.
Yeah.
And so when you're actually raised in that over decades and sometimes centuries, however your ancestors got it, you organize your whole family life around that.
Yeah.
And so your whole worldview is tied to what some population that invaded Africa, how that population viewed the world.
Right.
And so you end up raising your children like that. You end up setting up your schools like that. You end up organizing your business operations based on that. Your family structures, your beliefs, good and bad, life and death, all of that is tied to something that an Arab made up or European made up. And then there you are sitting in a meeting with other black folk trying to talk about unity. And what kind of unity can you have?
You can't.
You can't have it.
It's definitely not African-centered. That's for sure.
That's what's been happening. And that's what the last 40 years have been. People claiming African-centered, and they're still contaminating with the ideas and the organization of their life around something that the enslavers produced.
Understand that this reinforces what we were saying, that you fully know well. We're smart people. Everybody I've been exposed to, I talked to, who I met personally and on Facebook, are very, very intelligent people. But Your decision is your decision. You want to stay with your orientation, your religious orientation. That's fine. However, we know the truth. Scientific method, right?
Yes.
The evidence is there.
Yes.
The history is there.
Yes.
The traumatic effects of our people is there.
Yes.
That we still suffer today. The psychological trauma that we experience today.
Yeah.
It's all there as a result of religious indoctrination.
Yes.
And cultural contamination.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you bring up the cultural part of it, because the cultural part of it is even more dominant than the religious part.
I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Most people get lost on that. I mean, the whole way in which you organize your life, your clothes, your language, your names, the food that you eat, the values, norms, the way you organize your life and family life, all of those things, sometimes codified into a religious text. Those things are the things that shape us so we can organize ourselves and unify. We can't come together because we're seeing each other through the eyes of the people who enslaved us.
Correct.
You see, and so whenever you're organizing your life around a population that mistreated you in the worst of ways for centuries, you actually begin to see people, other black people, through their eyes.
Through your eyes. That's right.
Yeah. And so there we're sitting in meetings, and we're trying to have organizations, and we can't keep them together.
Exactly.
And not recognizing why.
I agree. You know, again, the message that you have been broadcasting has been consistent over the years, and you just can't take. If we go to another settlement, you use Venus and Pluto all the time.
Pluto.
When you take yourself to those places, to start all brand new, say the environment, say the atmosphere is perfect, and you can breathe fresh air and all that, say everything, and the weather is great, and you're going, oh, I found a spot where there's no contamination. Well, guess what? You just contaminated it.
You brought it with you.
You just contaminated it, people.
You're going to pull out the Quran. You're going to pull out the Bible, the Torah. You're going to organize the economy around what the whites have organized their economies around. You're going to organize your political system.
You're trying to get a way to start fresh. You're not doing anything.
You're taking exactly what you learned from them. I'm glad you brought that up, sir, because that's one where people should go back and study it. I mean, if you were able to get to Mars or to Pluto, I put Pluto because it's the last planet.
You better know how to build a damn spaceship.
That's
right. And we know we can't do that. So we ain't going nowhere no time soon.
Not going anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, we have to really take that one seriously, Mkuu.
Yeah.
And slow down, because whatever you are now, you take that with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And Pluto is the farthest planet. It's supposed to be a planet in the solar system. But if you were talking about going to Africa, you would take all this garbage that you have contaminated yourself with you if you didn't get rid of it. And that's why we said the most important thing for us now is our internal work, our internal correction.
Exactly.
Self-correction.
You bring up a very good point that you always spark things in my mind every time we talk, and that even now, so when we talk face to face, it's a great environment to think when we're discussing when we have an open mind, we're discussing critically about stuff.
Yes.
But you just brought a good point up. We go to Africa, we're going to have the same circumstances, the same issues.
That's right.
Now, we know we've already. Well, I know I've already pointed out that some of us are just already too far gone. If you're mature enough and think critically about that, you know that the gate has been opened. The horse and the cart has left the farmhouse, and you're stuck standing there.
Yeah.
So you know there's no hope for you. Now, in the meantime, what can you do? There's still hope for you, and for me, or for any of us. If you still want to be stuck where you're at, you have a responsibility to bring your children up.
That's right.
In as much of a non-contaminated environment as possible.
That's right.
Both physically, culturally, and psychologically.
That's right.
So how do we go to Africa? How do we go to the mother continent and build fresh there? We got to go there with fresh minds, young minds,
Yes.
who know all this so-called STEM fields
Yes.
of philosophies. You know, the sciences, the technologies, the engineerings, the math, and a couple other things that aren't part of that.
That's right, and it should be applied to every industry. You know, agriculture, construction, manufacturing, mining, all the service industries. All of those should be organized around the most advanced technologies. And the other thing that you said, because you know, when people look at us, you know, I'm in my 50s, late 50s, you're in your 60s.
Yeah, late 60s.
They're actually looking at folk who saying they're not going anywhere. What we're doing is tied to the next generation.
Next generation.
You know,
it's
clearly,
all for that.
It's all for that. It's not for us.
It's all for
I mean, in 20 years, this whole process will be very clear to most people.
Exactly.
But it's not going to solve anything if you didn't get to work on it now.
Right.
You see, if you start figuring it out 20 years from now, it'll be too late.
By the time you figure it out, you guys who are 20, 30 years old, and you're not listening to what we're saying right now, and you finally realize that what we're saying was true, you're going to be an elder.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit too late for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you know, you can get it together right now if you're in your 20s and even in your 30s.
Yes.
I don't want to put an age on it, but it's pretty safe to say that if you're a young person, still 30 years old, at least, and even younger than that, you have time to do something significant.
That's right.
And if you're going to raise children, you obviously have an obligation to your children.
Yeah, it's a fundamental thing. Most people don't appreciate the fact that what goes around does come around. We were kidnapped as a population for over 500 years, enslaved and brought here into the Western Hemisphere to be worked to death. That was the primary purpose and the only purpose of bringing us here as a population. We wrote a book that's called Bach. It's Bach Square. It's 1,048 pages, but it sums up that whole history and the process of us going through their systems. First, a manual system of production where it was just slavery, enforced slavery, and then mechanical, which was we were still in slavery, but the whites were organized around archaic machines, and then large-scale machine production, and then semi-automated, which is in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and then automated, which is in the 60s and the 70s. And in the 80s and 90s, you have computer automated machine production, primarily in the 90s, moving forward. In every industry, that replaces human labor. In agriculture, in mining, in construction, you wonder why they're putting the Hispanics out of the country. They don't need them anymore. Right. In agriculture, they used to have them in the fields picking grapes and oranges, and well, they have machines to do that now, robotized machines in many respects. And so agriculture is almost 99% computer automated and mechanized. You don't need human labor there. Manufacturing is almost 85%. It's only about 15% that humans work in manufacturing in this country. And then construction, which is the other areas that Hispanics were brought in the country for, those processes are being automated also. They have computer automated bricklayers right now. So I'm saying all that to say, when you're a population that was brought here just for labor, and your labor now is not necessary except in the service industries, which obviously they will phase those out too.
Now, let me, before you go further, because a young lady made a good point on one of your posts.
Yeah.
And forgive me, sister, because I can't remember your name, but you made a very good point about jobs that are being eliminated are now being replaced by those specialized computer services positions. And yes, if you go get trained as a computer tech, computer special programmer, and things like that, you will get one of those jobs. But you clearly are not replacing some odd jobs. Let's throw a number out there, 20,000 jobs, and you might have those replaced by 1,000 computer programmers.
Well, even less than that.
The numbers don't.
Yeah, I wish
the numbers don't work.
I wish I had more time with her, because I would have been able to explain to her. There's a literature that explains that. You know, it certainly doesn't work. You're talking about millions of jobs.
Yeah, the numbers don't work
compared to a few thousand jobs that now computers are able to program themselves.
Right.
And robots are able to identify, like in your car, identify the problem and
do
fix
it
itself.
so much faster.
And fix itself.
Yeah.
And so, again, I would have been able to help her with that. But that was a good point.
Yeah.
Most people get confused about that because people are throwing out literature that's really called fake news to make you think that these computerized technologies creating more jobs. It's not.
Right.
You go into agriculture, it didn't create more jobs there. It just closed them out. It's only 1% of the population working.
And let's call a spade a spade. And let's think critically. You know, my thing is thinking critically now.
Yeah.
You know, that's my buzzword.
Yeah.
Who's controlling that industry? It's not us.
That's right.
So okay, those computer tech jobs are being made available. Guess who's getting them?
Exactly.
1% of us are getting those.
Who's out in Silicon Valley?
Who's out in Silicon Valley?
Nah,
you might
find a black
you might see 1% of that population might be black out there.
It's actually less.
And
than
most
1%.
of them are Asians. They really want Asians.
That's
out there.
right. Asians and whites are out there.
And they want Indians. They
Yeah,
don't want you.
It's less than 0.5% black. It's not even a percent of black folk out in Silicon Valley. And that tells you something, because if Silicon Valley is the future, it will be transplanted throughout this country instead of machine factories. Then that's the population that's getting trained for that. The Asians, the whites, and the Indians.
And there's only so many computer server programming jobs out there too. So you can go work for a major health network, an insurance network, something that's going to be using a lot of data, and hopefully a bank maybe, and become somebody that works for them. You can work for that corporation
for a while. You know, for a while. Yeah, and so that's what we meant. I wasn't going to go far on that, but I was going to make the comment that we have to do our homework, and most of black folk haven't done their homework. They're still trapped in the 80s and the 90s, where you could try to start something that way. And that's why we say this is literally for our children and our grandchildren that we speak here. That we have to get our minds organized. We have to turn within. We should not be wasting our time arguing with white folk or anyone else about any of this stuff. We have to turn within and get our minds organized for the task at hand. And the task at hand is to organize ourselves in preparation for populations to transition out of here. And so that should be clear. Right. But we started off earlier, Mkuu, by saying you can't take the baggage with you. Right. You see. You can't take the garbage that is holding us down here anywhere. Amen. So you have to clean it up here. Right. You can't take it elsewhere, because you're going to have the same problems elsewhere, even worse because you have less resources initially than you're having here. That's right. You see, and so the disunity is tied directly to having alien ideologies in our head, you know, alien views. You're sitting across the table from a black person who calls himself a Muslim, which is an Arab, and you're sitting across the table from the Muslim who's looking at a black person calling himself a Christian, which is European. So you're sitting there with the alien ideologies in your head, arguing with each other over somebody else's views. Yeah, exactly. You know, so you've organized your family life around somebody else's structure of enslaving you, and then you sitting around there arguing with each other. And this is what we have. You get on Facebook and you see it. You sit around arguing with each other. To me and other people, it just makes so much sense. So I don't understand why people don't get it. But you know what? We go right back to what we said. You don't have to get it. They don't have to. You don't have to get it. Yeah. You know, you are where you are, and you choose to be there. That's perfectly fine. That's right. That's the last thing, and me and Tdka talked about before we did this video, is that we had to put the message out there. We're not trying to beat anybody up at all, you know, but we do know that where we're going is the way that is been proven through evidence. Yes. It's the only way that we can get out of this mess. Yes. You know, so our children obviously is going to have to be our target. They're targeting our children, and guess why they're targeting our children? Because they don't want us to teach them our cultural heritage. That's right. And the things that we're supposed to know in order for us to be a independent nation. That's right. Of people. Yes. That's why they're indoctrinating them with all kinds of gay, homophobic, and all kinds of crazy nonsense, even now in the damn kindergartens. You know what's out there. So why? They jump on this shit first before we can jump on it. We need to wake up, bottom line. Well, I do appreciate you working through all of these things. And again, the things that we have to work through for our children are the things that we're doing right now. So we're going to continue on that path. Exactly. And I want to let you know, as a co-founder of the Raising Awareness Group, with you being one of our elders, I want to put a shout out there to Elder Olatunji Mwamba, Elder Mfadisi Jehudimas,
who we work very closely with, Elder Donald Flournoy up in New York, elder sister Nikki Thompson in North Carolina. I know that I wanted to hit you up, but I had too many things to do, even to give you a call, because my agenda was just so packed this weekend. But next time I'm down this way, Nikki, I'll probably try to step in on you and catch up with you and see what's going on. Because I'm coming back down again to see my man here, so we'll see what we can do. But before we go, there are some people that we want to. I'm not going to personally say their names because I haven't had a chance to actually talk and build with them. But there are some people who actually have bought land on the mother continent who are doing some good things. The next step now is to be scientifically literate.
Yes.
In all the fields of science, and
yes.
in all the other fields that we talked about.
Yeah.
Just run those fields down to me again.
Yeah. Well, the area of industries: agriculture, mining, manufacturing, construction, and the service industries. But obviously, the science and technologies. What has to happen is we have to prepare schools in Africa. That's the first thing that we can do on our side and on their side. And these scientific schools will allow us to organize cities. And with those cities, everything that we learn in those schools, we can apply it. We can have a school that has a department of construction and architecture that allows us to build our buildings. We can have a college inside of the university that allows us to set up our manufacturing factories and schools. We'll have, the school element of the college within the university that allows us to set up our agriculture and farming.
There you go.
And then be able to apply the new technologies to farming.
And don't forget about the textiles too.
And the textiles industry, etc. And also the service industries are tied to it. So we organize around the schools. We can build our hospitals and other things out of that. So very clearly, we already have the most advanced trained workforce in the world, in the United States, as far as technical preparation in the sciences. We have that here.
Yeah.
But those people's minds,
a lot of those people are not going to take the jump.
They're not going to take
the jump.
They're not going to take it.
Yeah.
And so the issue is, preparing the ones who will.
Let's not be so pessimistic. Maybe we hope that they'll take the jump.
Yeah, but they'll take it when it's about too late.
But they may take the jump. But right now, we do have people that's on the mother continent has bought land, lots of it, and are waiting for people who are skilled to come over and help them develop that land and develop industry on that land and set up educational systems and all that stuff there. So we do have people. You guys probably know who these people are. I will say one thing. sbA Abbifahodie has already started a plot, a village, so to speak, in Ghana. I'm actually a part of that. That may be where I might be going. So it's not a secret because he's already put that out there. But he should be putting some information out sometime soon about being able to buy land, buy a lot for your house and that kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure Abbifahodie will let you know about that. That's one guy I can talk about. The other guys, they're out there.
Well, I'm happy you brought it up because that's really the real process now. We got to get seeds planted, and as those seeds planted, the season changes and they will grow. The seasons are changing. I mean, you pretty much recognize what's happening with Trump and all of that. Maybe targeted initially with the Hispanics, but we're next. And so in the final analysis, we should be years ahead of this. And that's where we're going now. We should be years ahead of this, and that's what we're doing in our discussions with you all.
Yes. Yeah, so it's been great. Sitting here with Brother Tdka, just chopping it up a little bit. We went how many minutes? It looks like 24 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
That's not bad. We thought we were going to do about maybe 15 to 20 anyway. But you guys, I want to wish you guys a great Sunday. It's a great day here in North Carolina. And next time I come down with my brother,
look forward to it.
We'll chop it up again.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Good seeing you all.
Abbifahodie, Hotep, Shema Hotep.
Hotep.